Good evening, Western Washington. Hope everyone had a nice Sunday and a nice weekend. It was mostly sunny most of this weekend across Western Washington, and it was actually pretty hot today. It got up to 88 degrees at my house in Federal Way. So starting here at the satellite imagery, you can see some of our marine flow here. Look at some of these cool cloud structures you have off of Vancouver Island and the Washington coast there, and down toward the Oregon coast as well. Wanted to note a few things on this satellite image. Take a look at this. This is the August Lake Fire. This is near the town of Princeton, British Columbia, burning north of some of the mountains of Okanagan County here in Washington State here. So central part of Washington State is what it's north of there. You can see how that is blowing some smoke over far northeastern Washington. It had a pyrocumulus cloud on it earlier today, and this will come into play over the next few days here. This fire will, along with the Pomas fire, which is in here. The Pomas fire is near Lake Chelan. It's burned about 4,000 acres right now, and that smoke will also play a part as we go into the next few days here. So we'll take a look at that here in a few minutes. So continuing here with the upper level pattern, you can see we have this ridge offshore. That's what brought our warm temperatures today. You can see we have this little bit of troughing that moves through here. That is going to cool us down a little bit on Monday, but then that troughing moves away and we remain dry. We remain in an overall ridge influence pattern through the week, and that's going to bring some pretty warm temperatures as that ridging holds on all the way through Friday. And then you can see as we have a little bit of troughing move through toward next weekend, we will cool things down a little bit, maybe bring in a few more clouds, but nothing more than that. So let's take a look here. Precipitation all the way through Thursday night. You can see not a drop for most of Western Washington. You can see as we go into Friday morning and then into Saturday morning there. Saturday morning, you see we have a few hundredths of an inch possible across the area, but not very much at all. I mean, you're looking at like 1 to 5 hundredths of an inch, maybe a little bit more for some of the Cascades, but that is all. And so really the dry pattern does continue here as we go over this week. And with that dry pattern is going to come some pretty warm temperatures. So you can see we're looking at the National Blended Models high resolution temperature forecast. You can see Monday you're looking at high temperatures dropping from today's levels. You're looking at highs in the mid to upper 70s for all of Western Washington, the coast in the mid 60s to maybe some upper 60s there, and upper 70s to low 80s around Portland. But take a look at the heat build as we go into Tuesday there. You can see we get a little bit of offshore flow on the coast, and you get highs there into the mid 70s to low 80s most likely inland. You can see in the lowlands you have highs from Seattle northward in the low 80s to low 90s, and then from Seattle southward in the mid to upper 80s, some low 90s near the mountains, and from Olympia southward toward Portland, highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Taking a look there at Wednesday, you can see the temperatures build even more. This might be a little bit on the cool side too, so we may have temperatures a little bit warmer than this. We cool a little bit on the coast on Wednesday with highs remaining in the 70s, but no 80s possible out there. And then take a look at highs in the interior. You can see from Seattle northward, you have highs in the low 80s to low 90s, maybe some mid 90s in some of those mountain valleys. And from Seattle southward, you have highs in the low to mid 90s. This will be our hottest day of the year so far. You can see from Olympia down toward Portland, those highs are in the low to mid 90s. And then from Portland, or from about Kelso toward Portland there, you see highs in the mid to upper 90s. 100 is not out of the question there. As we go into Thursday, we start to cool down a bit. Onshore flow returns on the coast. Highs drop to the mid 60s to low 70s. And then in the interior from Seattle northward, you have highs in the mid 70s to mid 80s. From Seattle southward, those highs remain pretty hot in the mid 80s to low 90s. Same thing around Portland there as we go into Thursday. And finally, as we go into Friday, we cool down a little bit more. Those highs on the coast remain in the mid to upper 60s. From Seattle northward, you have highs in the mid 70s to low 80s and some mid 80s possible. And then from Seattle southward, those highs stay in the low to mid 80s, except mid to upper 80s across parts of southwest Washington and the Willamette Valley. So overall, a pretty warm week coming up, especially Tuesday and Wednesday there, Wednesday being our hottest day, and then we remain warm on Thursday as well. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, be prepared for some heat, and those low temperatures overnight will remain in the upper 50s to low 60s, maybe a few mid 60s for parts of the metro area, so be aware of that as well. Now I wanted to take a look here. Fire danger is pretty high over this setup here with this heat. This is the European model looking at humidity on Wednesday afternoon. And look at that across parts of the Seattle metro there. You have humidity down around 20%. That is really dry for this time of year. Look at Portland. You have humidity with the east flow down toward 13%. So the fire danger obviously very high across eastern Washington, British Columbia, eastern Oregon. But even across the interior of western Washington and western Oregon, you have high fire danger as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see some brush fires pop up that spread quite a bit possibly, and even in the mountains, anything that starts will spread a lot, so be prepared for that and be mindful with whatever you're doing that the fire danger is on the high side. And this is what I want to look at here, the vertically integrated smoke. So this is smoke aloft. You can see here, that's the August Lake fire I was talking about earlier in British Columbia. We have another fire, I believe it's called the Hope Fire, which is near Kettle Falls. You can see how these produce plumes as we go into tonight. And then as we go into Monday there, you can see not as much smoke. Then they fire up again in the afternoon. But then take a look as winds start to shift, as our ridging gets into place here as we go into Tuesday, and that wind becomes offshore. And you can see how the smoke plume from those fires pushes to a different way here, and then it starts to be directed straight toward western Washington and western Oregon, but especially western Washington. Some of this will get into western Oregon, but look at that August Lake fire. This is 11 a.m. on Tuesday. If this thing goes plume dominated, which is where it gets a really big smoke plume, and that just pushes straight southwest there into western Washington through the day Tuesday and Wednesday, that will probably bring our temperatures down a few degrees, but it will also potentially impact our air quality and will definitely make the skies hazy. Skies are going to be hazy regardless as we go into Tuesday. So this is smoke aloft, but if we take a look at surface smoke there, you can see that, let me just get this to the right thing here. You can see that when that fire starts to really go here, this is the latest run. As we go into Tuesday evening, we get that fire really just putting out a pretty big plume, and you can see how some of that surface smoke gets into western Washington, and you get some of it into western Oregon as well from some of the other fires. We can take a look again on this latest run at the vertically integrated smoke, and you can see there will definitely be smoke coverage across parts of western Washington and western Oregon as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. And we'll kind of see what happens with these plumes as we go into the evening on Tuesday and then into Wednesday as this pattern continues. We may be dealing with some smoke as we go into the middle to the end of this week. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'll talk about that more over the next few days. And then taking a look briefly at temperatures going into the end of July here, you can see decent chance for us to remain above average. Precipitation is kind of negligible, equal chances above or below average, which really doesn't mean much at this time of year. So yeah, continue to follow me here. You can subscribe here on Western Washington Weather on YouTube. Follow me on Blue Sky on Twitter and the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. I will continue posting some videos this week as we do have that smoke chance and the hot temperatures. So stay tuned. I'll do another video tomorrow, and I will talk to you all later.